Hello class, in this video we are going to draw, we're actually going to draw just a front elevation. Of course, you will be responsible for drawing all four sides of this house. The front is just to show you how to do it. The front is also the most complicated side on most designs, especially this one. But you should be able to transfer this knowledge from the front of the house to the other sides. You got the front, you got the right side, the rear, and the left side. Or another way that we label and indicate these different sides is you've got the south, which is the front, the east, which is the right side, the rear, which is the north, and then you've got the west, which is the left side. Okay. All right, now this is a similar drawing to one we've been working with. It's got a few modifications on here, but that's what we're going to use. Don't worry, you don't have to draw the roof. It's already drawn for you. We only have to draw the roof once we get into the elevation down here. Okay, so the first thing we do before we draw an elevation is we got to have some elevation symbols. Now, listen very carefully. This house would normally have dimensions going all the way around it. I think I removed the dimensions altogether. I believe I did. Let me check. No, I didn't. I got them right here. Okay. So in turning the dimensions on, if they will come on. Okay, maybe I did get rid of them. Okay, so let's just turn that back off. Okay, but anyway, these symbols that I'm about to place are going to indicate that there are elevation drawings that we need to look at. And those symbols will be placed right outside of the dimensions. Okay, you'll have dimensions coming across the front and all the sides, and you'll want to place this outside the dimensions. Okay, now there's several different ways to draw this symbol. You'll see many different versions of the symbol. I'm just going to draw one very basic symbol, just kind of using my default measurements. And I'm going to start off with a 6-inch square. So I'm going to zoom in really close and just draw this square 6 inches. And then I'm going to tab over and draw the other side 6 inches. And then hit the enter button. We got a 6-inch square. Now I am going to put a triangle on top. And how do I do that? It's going to be a 6-inch triangle. I don't have to go into the tool and draw like a whole triangle or anything from the rectangle tool. What I can do is just draw 6 inches up. Okay, and then make sure I come right back down. Actually, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be half of that dimension. It should be 3 inches. Okay, because this is basically half of a square that we're drawing. Okay, so 3 inches, not at an angle like I just drew. Let's try that again. 3 inches, okay, and then draw the angles down from the top down to here, and we don't need that line in the center. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn that into a block because I'm going to place several of those. So I'm going to go to the Insert tab, Create Block, Elevation. Okay, choose the center, and then choose the object and enter. Now it is a block. Okay, so just outside those dimensions, this would be placed about right where it's at, actually. Okay, and that would tell us that there is a dimension or a drawing that needs to be looked at coming from that direction. And actually, just for the purpose of the video, this is hard to see. I am going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to scale it because I know that's really hard to see on the video. When you draw yours, just draw it to that size that I drew it to keep from having any confusion. I'm just going to enlarge this one for the sake of the video. Okay, so that's easier to see. Okay, so it's placed right outside the dimension lines, and it's pointing towards the front of the house, saying that, hey, there is a drawing that represents the front of the house. I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to place a couple more. There. Okay, now these have to be turned. I'm going to go to the rotate tool. Actually, I had them all selected at one time, so that won't work. Rotate it around, and that's not straight. There we go. All right. Just a little quick adjustment. I want to move this one a little bit further out. Okay. So those are the symbols that tell you that you have drawings of the front and the right side, the left side, and the rear that you need to look at. Okay. And those would be in your stack of drawings. All right. Now we need to actually draw those elevation views. And we draw those when it comes to AutoCAD. Now, I do have some software that works a little bit differently, but with AutoCAD, you pretty much draw everything right here on the same page. And it's all a matter of how you zoom into it on your layout pages. Like if I go to layout 2 here, okay, and I wanted to focus on just a certain drawing that's within this drawing, okay, I would double click and just focus in on that drawing. So right about here is where I'm going to draw that elevation. So I would zoom that into this particular layout. Okay, that's how that works. And that's why we draw on AutoCAD, we draw everything that we can right there on that main page. Okay, but anyway, that was just for information. That wasn't anything you have to do. Okay, so now I want to draw this. So I'm going to mark some of my I'm going to mark basically the corners of the house, the corners of the roof, the ridges of the roof, doors, and windows. Okay, also the bottom of the house and the top of the house. All those things are going to be indicated. Now, what happens when you draw this front, if you were to, now I'm going to draw a circle. I don't want you to draw the circle. I just want you to watch what I'm doing here. Okay, I'm going to draw the circle, and this is going to represent a person. Okay, you do not draw that person. Okay, now when I draw this elevation of the front of the house, I want to draw everything that this person right here could see looking that way. So if their field of vision, you know, kind of came out and did this, you know, what all would they see? Okay, well, they would certainly see the front part up here, you know, the garage, the front door, the windows. They would not see this wall unless they were standing over here. But they would see this little piece of wall right here, okay, the one that goes horizontally right there. They would also see this little piece of wall right here that goes horizontally left to right, right here. So I want to draw everything that they would possibly see if they were standing right here and if it was a perfect world. Okay, think perfect world. So let's get rid of that. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the edges of the structure itself. I'm kind of going to forget about the roof for now. I'm going to draw the edges of the structure. And actually, I'm going to use a different type of line. It's called, right here, it's called a construction line. It's actually called a construction line. I think there's another mathematical name for that because it continues in both ways infinitely, okay? Maybe it's just a line or something. I don't know what it is. But anyway, I'm going to click on that. And I'm laying a line. I'm going to change the layer that I'm putting these on to. And you see the line, I can move my cursor and it goes in different directions. Of course, I want it to lock in, you know, as it's going straight down, okay? It kind of locks in right there. I want it to be locked in before I push the mouse button to place it, okay? So I placed that line. That marks the edge of the house right over here without the roof. I'm also going to select that line and change the layer. I'm going to put these construction lines on the 0 layer. Okay, so I'm going to draw another construction line. Okay, now I want to mark this corner over here. This is a corner of the house right there. So get right there on the wall and draw another line and click to place it once it's locked in. Now, see, as I move the mouse, it wants to go in a different angle. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the enter button to get out of the tool. I'm going to come back to the tool by hitting the enter button again. And then I can lock right there on that corner. Or actually, I could have just done it right here on that corner. Okay, get it straight. Hit the enter button. Okay, hit the enter button again to go back into that tool. Make sure you're right there on the corner and not on the corner of the roof, but corner of the house. And this one isn't working. That's not what I want there. Let me try that again. It probably got confused because the roof is there. Okay, so draw it straight down, click, and then hit the enter button. Come back here, hit the enter button to go back into the tool. Hover, click, draw, click again, hit the enter button. Okay, so I've got the walls, all the corners of my walls marked out. Now you're going to do this for everything. I typically do it for one component at a time because I don't want a whole bunch of lines confusing me as to what I'm doing. All right, so this is going to help me draw the structure itself, the walls themselves. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is go back to the exterior wall layer. I'm going to go just to the standard line tool. I'm going to draw a line from this line. Now, of course, I've got to pick up the geometry right up there. Bring it down about right here. There's no specific distance. Just bring it down to where you've got enough room to draw. Okay, and I'm going to draw it all the way across to this line. Okay, now the wall height of that is going to be 8 feet. However, my fascia and everything are going to come down to a little bit lower level than the wall itself. Okay, so that's what I want to mark here is the top of what I'm drawing. Now, if you remember back when we drew the roof section detail, that will tell you how high to draw this front line to represent the eave of the house or the top of this wall. Okay, it's not officially the top of the wall, but it's going to be the top of the wall in the picture. Okay, so let me pull that up and I will show you. Okay, I've got the roof detail that we drew for this particular structure. Okay, this is the top of the wall right here. Okay, which will measure anywhere between 8 and 10 feet typically. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and stick with the minimum, which is 8 feet. So it's 8 feet up to here. That's our wall height, and that's what we mark as our wall height on our elevation drawing. But when we draw the fascia and things like that we're going to see from over here, we have to draw this. Okay, so this basically would be the bottom line. So we need to know what the difference is between that line and the actual wall height. Okay, and of course you don't have to do this. You just watch me do it and then you draw it. But our height here, if I get the measure tool, let's get the distance measure tool, going from the very top of the wall, the top of that double top plate down to this line, and it's 1 foot and 3/16 of an inch. Okay, so that's basically what we have to subtract from our wall height, 1 foot and 3/16 of an inch. So let's go back over to here where we're drawing the front elevation. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and offset it 8 foot first. Okay, and then I will move it. I'll click on it and go to the move tool. Actually, I didn't have to go to the move tool. I could just click on it and grab it by that middle grip. Bring it down 1 foot dash 3/16 of an inch. And my keyboard is doing some really weird stuff. I think I might need a new battery or something. So let's fix that. Okay, 1 foot dash 3. Is it 3? Yeah, 3/16 of an inch. And it did it again. And I will change the battery in this keyboard here in just a minute. All right. So that is where we're drawing our fascia at. Now I want to go ahead and mark some things. And I'm going to mark it on the 0 layer. This is going to be how we dimension. This is part of how we're going to dimension. But I want to go ahead and mark it. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So that's basically going to be our first floor level. And then I'll offset this one. And offset it 8 feet. And that is going to be our wall level. And you see how that works. Our wall actually goes up some, but the roof kind of overhangs a little bit and hides the actual wall line right here in this type of roof. Anyway, some types of roofs, it does not do that. But in this type of roof, it does. Okay, so I just wanted to do that to mark where my floor level is and where my top of wall level or my ceiling level is another thing we call that. Okay, and then our roof kind of hangs down as it slopes down the front, hangs down right here, and that'll make more sense in just a little bit. Okay, but anyway, we've got that. I forget how the size of our fascia, so I can go back here, and it was a 1 foot fascia. Okay, so this line, which is actually going to represent the roof now. It's actually now going to be something to represent the roof. So I'm going to change its layer. Let me click on it. Change its layer. Now I'm going to offset it 1 foot. Okay, that's the top of the fascia board. Okay. All right. Now I've got the walls from end to end. Now what I need to do is locate these inner corners. There's 3 of them. There's a corner here, and a corner here. And of course it's located right along these lines. So it's really simple. I'm going to go back to the exterior wall layer. Bring that down here. Like so. Okay, now I've got both of those, I've got all of those marked. Only thing I don't have marked is the very ends. I didn't draw anything there. Okay, and now I've come to a point where I can get rid of these lines. I don't need those anymore because the next thing I'm going to do is draw doors and windows. Okay, or actually I think I'll go ahead and finish up my roof next. That'll be the next on the agenda. So I'm going to delete those lines. Now we can start to see the front of the house come in into play here. Okay, so what we'll do on the next video is we'll actually get the roof drawn in here based on the geometry that we transfer, and that's kind of what we're doing here. We're transferring geometry from a plan view to a upright section view. Okay, but the next video we will cover the roof.